All right, everyone, it's Monty again from Watanabe Floral, back, General Manager and Sales and Marketing Director. Great to be here again with you. Today we're going to talk about how we try to do the best that we can to preserve the quality of the product and what you can do at home to help your flowers last as long as possible. So today may be a little bit more scientific, a little bit more boring per se, unless you're one of those scientific nerdy type people, then this might be extremely fascinating to you. But at the bottom line is it's so important because not everything is just about the beauty of the product. A lot of the beauty comes from the meticulous care of the product from farm level all the way into your home. So I'll tell you a little bit about the processes. In some of the other episodes, I told you that most of the flowers originate from South America. Many of the flowers are coming from Colombia and Ecuador. Now, many of these farms are at high elevations, and flowers like cool temperatures and lots of light. So the cooler they are, and the more light they have, the longer they stay on stems. As the stem gets longer, then you're talking about bigger flowers and you're talking about more productivity. So that's the first part of it. Now, once they are cut, they are brought into refrigeration, and all of the workers down there at the farm level are working in refrigerators to maintain the quality and the integrity of the product. Flowers, most flowers, like to be at cool temperatures. 32 to 34 degrees is an ideal temperature to keep the flower from growing and from blooming and aging quickly. So in refrigerators at 32 to 34 degrees, they're cleaned up, they're bunched, they're packed, and they're shipped to the United States. The only time that they're out of refrigeration would be in the actual time that they're on the plane. Once the planes land in Miami and they're inspected, these flowers go back into refrigeration and are kept in refrigeration. Oftentimes, they're put to machines that suck that warm air that may have come in during the flight out of the boxes to preserve the cool temperatures. Then they're flown to Hawaii. We pick them up in refrigerators. They're unloaded at the airport. They're put into refrigerators. We go to the cargo companies and we get the flowers out of refrigeration and we bring them back to Watanabe Floral and get them back into refrigeration as soon as possible. What we also do is we pop open the boxes to allow the hot air that may have settled in to escape. So you want to let that hot air escape as quickly as possible. And then you cool the temperature of the product down. That's the first part of the chain of life, is keeping the flowers as cool as possible, as long as possible. There's a saying that for every hour that you keep it out of refrigeration, you are losing up to 12 to 18 hours of vase life for every hour that you keep it out at room temperature. So we're very, very aware of that. The second most important component is all of these flowers have to receive a fresh cut. And this is where I'm going to use a metaphor as an example of why it's so important to have a fresh cut. Flowers are like human beings. Flowers are living organisms. As humans, we need water, we need food. Okay? So when the floral products come in, they need water and they need food. So we have specially designed, specially formulated pesticide/food that gives the flowers the food that it needs to be vibrant and the pesticides it needs to prevent infection. For a human, it's like their antibiotic to make sure that we do not allow bacteria to set in. So it's a special formulation that gives it the food to eat and it gives it the protection to avoid bacteria and infection. Okay? Then, think about this. When you get a cut, okay, so you got a strawberry on your knee, after a while, if it doesn't bleeding and it starts to heal up, it forms a scab. Once you have a scab, you really kind of penetrate that scab with liquid to get inside. Flowers are the same way. When the flowers are cut and shipped to Hawaii, they're going to have crusted over and they're going to have a quote-unquote scab at the bottom. So when they're put in water, the water cannot penetrate that scab and thus will not drink. And if it's not drinking, it's going to dehydrate, and if it's dehydrated, it's not going to last long. Just like us. If we don't drink water for 2-3 days, we slowly start to dehydrate, we certainly get weaker, and if that continues, we're not going to be able to survive. Same thing with the flowers. So by giving it a fresh cut, you're going to open up that passageway that allows the water to suck in. And as it sucks in, it's going to take it up the stem and it's going to provide the hydration the flowers need. So every single stem that comes into Watanabe Floral, every single stem, hundreds of thousands on a weekly basis, we give a fresh cut before we get it into that specially formulated food/pesticide to give the flower product the best chance to survive. So that's what we do on our side. Now, what can you do when you get the product home? So when you're buying product from us, whether it be cut flowers or you have an arrangement delivered to you, same premise. When you take it from Watanabe Floral and we have it in water and you take it home, depending on how long it takes you to get from here to there, it'll start to form a scab. And then you'll start, depending on how long it is, the full scab could start again. So when you get home, before you put it in the vase or before you use it, you're gonna have to give it a fresh cut again and get it in water as quickly as possible. Because the minute you cut, it sucks like a straw. And you want it to suck strong the water to get that water all the way up the stem to hydrate your flowers. So if it's cut flowers, you're gonna wanna take it home, give it a fresh cut before you get it in your vase, and then put together whatever it is that you're gonna put together. Now, what about if you have an arrangement delivered to you? You're gonna notice that we deliver it to you with water that's pretty full in the vase. The next day, that water is gonna be down probably half, maybe even a little bit more. Why is that? Because as we're designing the product, we're giving it a fresh cut and we're putting it in so that it's as fresh as possible for you. When that happens, it immediately starts sucking the water and it's gonna be very, very thirsty at that point. So it's gonna drink a lot. So you're gonna notice that on the first day, you're gonna wanna fill that water back up and get it up to the top. After about 2 or 3 days, you wanna change the water. You wanna take the stems out, empty out the water that you have, refill it. If you have an extra packet of floral preservative that we provide here in our stores, use that. If you don't, it's okay, but you wanna make sure that it's clean. You wanna give it another fresh cut, get that back in the water again, and that'll give you the best opportunity to have the longest life of the flowers at your home or anywhere that you have. Okay? Chain of life in the floral business, chain of life is the most #1 critical thing to keeping your product and your flowers in the highest possible quality. And that's something that we take extremely, extremely seriously. From farm to Miami, to Hawaii, to Watanabe Floral's coolers, to you, we keep flowers as cool as possible at every step of the juncture. Cutting the stems, making sure that your product is drinking and has the food necessary to feed it and the pesticides necessary to make sure infection doesn't set in and bacteria doesn't set in will help give you the best possible product. Always when you get home, if you notice like you got a rose and it's drooping over, it's not dying, it's dehydrated. So if you catch that quick enough and you give it another fresh cut, sometimes it'll pop back up because it's drinking again. So again, some helpful hints letting you know the importance of temperature, the importance of hydration, cutting your stems to make sure that you get the best possible life expectancy out of the flowers. That way you make people happy for a longer period of time. Hopefully that helps. Monty, General Manager, Watanabe Floral, until next time. Thank you so much.